Hey guys, I'm a little late on posting Monday's DMR, so we're going to start with number 30 this week. We are going to do number 1 together. Number 1 says, Tom purchased a bag of rocks from the store. He gave Sue 1/4 of the bag, and then he lost 1/5 of what was remaining in the bag. How much of the bag of rocks does he have now? Okay, so you might be wondering why it doesn't tell us the original amount, but I want you to focus in on this. It says Tom purchased a bag, so that means that he purchased one bag. And some of that bag he gave to Sue, and then some of the rocks he lost. So what we need to figure out is the amount he gave away and the amount that he lost, and then that should give us a fraction of what he now has left over, okay? So what I would do is I would take the amount he gave to Sue and the amount that he lost and combine them, because those represent what he no longer has. Okay, those are the things that he gave away or lost. So when we set up our two fractions like this, we need to find a common multiple between 4 and 5. Because our denominators are not the same, can't add them the way that they are. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So if you look at common multiples, the least common multiple is 20 for us to find a common denominator. So 4 times what equals 20, and 5 times what equals 20. So 5 times 4 is 20, so 1 times 4 is 4. Remember, you're doing the same thing to the numerator and the denominator. 4 times 5 is 20, so 1 times 5 is 5. If you're not sure where I got the 4 and the 5 from, you can check your multiplication. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, see that? So here's the common multiple. Awesome. So now I have 5/20 and 4/20. So I'm going to combine the amount that he gave away and that he lost so that we can try to figure out what does he now have. So when I combine those together, this means that Tom lost or gave away, lost or gave away 9/20 of his bag. So what's left over? What did he not give away or not lose? Well, 20/20 would be the whole bag, and he gave away or lost 9/20. So that leaves us with 11/20. So 11/20 of the bag of rocks he has left. So he has a little over half left for himself. Okay, do you see how I did that? You could also count up from 9/20 to get to 20/20. 9 plus 11 is 20. I just did you can do either way, adding up or subtracting. All right, hope that made sense. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is a rounding. It says we need to round 1,483 and 928 thousandths to the nearest hundredths. So I know this is the tenths, so the 2 is the hundredths. We're going to look next door. Remember, if the neighbor is 5 or more, we're going to raise the score, so the 2 will change to a 3. Or if the next door neighbor is 4 or less, we're going to keep it the same. So I see an 8, that means that the 2 is going to change. So our rounded number is going to be 1,483 and 93 hundredths. Got that? Perfect. All right, we're going to do number 3. I'm going to let you use a calculator for number 3. I don't normally, and I wouldn't normally if we were in school. I would make you divide them out. So in order to change a fraction to a decimal, you could use division. So let's say we have the fraction 5/6, and it says which of these fractions are equivalent, which means equal, to 83 hundredths, or 0.833 repeating. That bar over the top of the 3 means that it repeats. So in order to actually solve this with math, you would have to, on paper, you would have to divide 5 divided by 6. So you would have to do 5 divided by 6. You would have to change 5 to 5.0, and then you would have to do your division. So, for example, see, the decimal goes straight up in the answer. So can 6 go into 5? No. Can 6 go into 50? Yes. You have to ask yourself how many times, and then you would have to do it that way. So, for example, like 6 times 8 is 48. Do you see where I'm going? And then 6 goes into 23 times, which gives you 18. And then it looks like it's going to be repeating. 3 is going to go on and on and on and on. So it looks like if I did out the division by hand, this fraction so far is going to be equivalent. Now, I'm going to show you how to use this calculator strategy in case they let you do it in middle school. Another way that you could do it is you could type in the numerator divided by the denominator in your calculator. So for example, you see 10/12. We would divide 10, so type in 10, divided by, hit the division bar, 12. And I get 0.83333 on my calculator. So then that tells me that it matches 0.833 repeating, excuse me. Okay, now 4/8. I know 4/8 is equal to a half, which is also equal to 50 cents. And that should not equal to 83 hundredths. But if you don't believe me, you could do the calculator trick. So you type the numerator in, 4 divided by 8, and you'll get 0.5 or 50 cents or 5/10. Okay? All right, let's do 4. So this one doesn't work. Let's do 4/16. So in the calculator, you do 4 divided by 16. And I get 25 hundredths or 25 cents. And so that also does not match my 83 cents or 83 hundredths goal. So 2 of those 4 fractions are equal. Hopefully that calculator trick helps you. I know we kind of used it in class, not really, but I let some of you use it if you really needed it for those fractions like the 6th that we didn't know as well as we did like a 1/4 and a half. Okay, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is a word problem. There are 224 chairs in the school auditorium. An auditorium is like a theater almost, with a stage and chairs. They have one at the middle school when you go next year. The principal wants to put 12 chairs in each row. How many rows will we need to have? So the principal wants to put 12 chairs in each row. How many rows will we need to have? Okay, so we're going to take the original amount, which is 224 chairs, and we are going to divide it by 12 in each row. And then this should tell us how many rows we will need to make. Okay, since this is a word problem, I'm okay with you using your calculator. You'll type in 224 divided by 12, and you're going to get something like this. Okay, which tells me that there is a leftover amount of chairs. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to figure out what the remainder is. I just want to do it out for you so that you understand that when you get a decimal like that on your calculator in a word problem, it means you have a remainder. So 12 cannot go into 2. 12 can go into 22. Can only go one time. If we did 2 times, we get 24. That'd be too big. So 22 minus 12 is 10, and then we bring down the 4. So then I need to figure out how many times 12 will go into 104. Based on what the calculator told me, I'm going to do 8. So 12 times 8 is 96. So 96 minus 104. Don't regroup. Count up with your fingers. 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104. So I have 8 chairs left over. So is 8 chairs enough to make a new row based on the problem? No, because the principal wants 12 in each row, so we can only make 18 full rows, and then we'll just have some chairs left over. Okay, so number 4 is 18 rows. Now, if the principal came and told us that we could put these 8 chairs in a row behind the ones that we've already made, then we could round up to 19. But the principal isn't specifying here, so we're just going to assume that our rows have to be 12 chairs in each. All right, perfect. Now, let's move on to number 5. Number 5 says there were 6 boxes of donuts in the kitchen. Someone ate 1/3 from each box. How many boxes of donuts were eaten? I'll try to see if I can zoom in a little bit on this problem. Perfect. So that you can see my boxes. So my boxes are cut into thirds, and I'm going to shade 1/3 from each box. And there are 6 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shade in 1/3 from each box because that's what the problem said. And then I'm going to fill up complete boxes. Let me see. I'm going to grab my pen. All right, let's see if this works. All right. So in order to figure out how many complete boxes I have eaten, this is how many boxes were eaten, I'm going to take this piece and move it here. I'm going to take this third and move it here. So that's a whole box. I'm going to take this third, move it here, this third, and move it here. So do you see how I just took a piece and moved it over, took a piece, moved it over? So if I'm looking at my boxes, I have 1 full box here and a full box of donuts were eaten here. So it's safe to say that 2 full boxes were eaten. Awesome job today. Love you guys.